As part of the UK driving test, the examiner will ask 2 vehicle safety questions about the car being used for the test. At the start of the test, before the driving starts, there will be a "Tell me" question, where you would describe how you'd carry out a safety task. Then, later on while you're driving the car, there will be a "Show me" question, where you would show how you'd carry out another safety task. Let's take a look at the "Tell me" questions first. We'll be demonstrating every answer, but on the test you would only have to describe the answer to the examiner. Tell me how you'd check that the brakes are working before starting a journey.
Describe how you would drive slowly somewhere safe and then brake the car to a stop. The brake pedal should feel firm, not spongy, and also the car should not pull to one side as it stops.
Tell me where you'd find the information for the recommended tyre pressures for this car and how tyre pressures should be checked.
Describe that you would look inside the driver's door and check the tyre pressure information sticker, then check the tyres with a pressure gauge when the tyres are cool. Compare the gauge reading to the sticker and remember to check all 4 tyres, including the spare if fitted.
Tell me how you make sure your head restraint is correctly adjusted so it provides the best protection in the event of a crash.
Describe that you would check and adjust the head restraint until it is approximately level with the top of your head.
Tell me how you'd check the tyres to ensure that they have sufficient tread depth and that their general condition is safe to use on the road.
Describe how you would check all 4 tyres all the way around using a tread depth gauge to check the central 3/4 of the tyre. There must be at least 1.6 mm of tread to be legal. We should also check the sidewall of the tyre for damage. There should not be any cuts or bulges.
Tell me how you'd check that the headlights and taillights are working. You don't need to exit the vehicle.
Describe that you would turn on the car's ignition and the instrument should light up. Then turn on the dipped headlamps and check the warning lamps have illuminated. Finally, walk around the car to check the headlamps and tail lamps are working correctly.
Tell me how you'd know if there was a problem with your anti-lock braking system.
Describe that you would turn on the car's ignition and look for the yellow ABS warning light. If the light stays lit, it would indicate a fault.
Tell me how you'd check the direction indicators are working. You don't need to exit the vehicle.
Describe that you would switch on the hazard warning lights. Then walk around the car to check all 6 indicators are working correctly.
Tell me how you'd check the brake lights are working on this car.
Describe that you would turn on the car's ignition. Then push and hold the brake pedal to illuminate the brake lights. Next, ask someone to check the brake lights are working correctly.
Tell me how you'd check the power assisted steering is working before starting a journey.
Describe that the steering will feel very heavy with the engine turned off. But after starting the engine, the steering should feel much lighter.
Tell me how you'd switch on the rear fog lights and explain when you'd use them. You don't need to exit the vehicle.
Describe that you would turn the car's ignition on, then switch on the dipped headlamps. Next, switch on the rear fog lamp and check the amber warning light is lit. Finally, state that fog lamps should only be used when visibility is less than 100 meters.
Tell me how you switch your headlight from dipped to main beam and explain how you'd know the main beam is on.
Describe that you would turn on the car's ignition, then switch on the dipped headlamps. Next, switch on the headlamp's main beam and state that the blue warning light confirms the main beam is on.
Tell me how you'd check that the engine has sufficient oil.
Pull the bonnet release inside the car to pop the bonnet up. After releasing it with the small catch, open the bonnet and secure with the stay. Describe that you would remove the engine oil dipstick, wipe the dipstick clean, replace and remove the dipstick again before checking the oil level against the maximum and minimum markings.
Tell me how you'd check that the engine has sufficient engine coolant.
Open the bonnet and secure with the stay. Identify the engine coolant reservoir and describe that you would check the fluid level against the full and low markings.
Tell me how you'd check that you have a safe level of hydraulic brake fluid.
Open the bonnet and secure with the stay. Identify the brake fluid reservoir and describe that you would check the fluid level against the maximum and minimum markings.
Later on, during your driving test, the examiner will ask you to show them how you would operate one of the car's controls whilst you are driving. If you forget where the control is, you are allowed to stop the car and find it, and then drive on again and operate the control. When it's safe to do so, can you show me how you wash and clean the rear windscreen?
Operate the rear wash wipe system for a few seconds and wait until the rear window is clean.
When it's safe to do so, can you show me how you wash and clean the front windscreen?
Operate the front wash wipe system for a few seconds and wait until the windscreen is clean.
When it's safe to do so, can you show me how you'd switch on your dipped headlights?
Switch on the dipped headlamps and check the two green warning lights illuminate to confirm the lights are on.
When it's safe to do so, can you show me how you demist the front windscreen?
Adjust the climate controls to set front demist. Don't forget to turn it off again.
When it's safe to do so, can you show me how you'd set the rear demister?
Adjust the climate controls to set rear demist.
When it's safe to do so, can you show me how you'd operate the horn?
Check there is no other road users nearby, then press the centre of the steering wheel until the horn sounds.
When it's safe to do so, can you show me how you'd open and close the side window?
Use the driver's window controls to open and close the window fully.
If you get either or even both of these questions wrong, they will be marked as one driver or minor fault. But since the knowledge learnt here will allow you to operate your car effectively and keep it roadworthy, it is worth taking the time to learn these answers. If you found this video interesting, then please click our logo to subscribe to our channel, as it really helps other people find our videos. If you would like to support this channel, then please click the Patreon link and consider making a pledge. Thanks for watching.